Hello all my Kenvians and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. My apologies, as always, for the delay. The holidays got in the way, obviously, as well as me trying to motor on through some of those Discovering Doctor Who episodes, which I'm also going to be recording tonight. But today, I'm going to be watching Sadie's song. And I can only assume that after, some of the more tumultuous, I guess you could say, episodes that we've experienced recently, as well as that, the last episode, Nightmare Hospital, where we got some more character development from Connie, as well as from her mother. I can only assume this might be a little bit more of a side story, perhaps. I think I might just call it a side story, maybe. Might not have a whole lot to do with the actual plot, but this show has definitely surprised me in the past. So, let's get right into it with Sadie's song. Sadie's song. Oh, and I also apologize. Still getting over a cold, so I may cough and sniffle a lot. Oh, Sadie's a guitar player. Oh, or just singing. Oh no. Her mom.
Hi, Mom. You're home early.
Her mom's the mail lady.
I was home to show you this. Look at this little guy I got for you. Ain't he the cutest?
Oh.
Thanks, Mom. Sadie, what are you doing? I used to drive you to your softball games. I remember when you punched the umpire. That's what it is for trying to shoot my daughter out of a double.
They're delivering jokes. That was a joke. Let me hear Kiki and her ventriloquist dummy.
How did I let this happen? I don't want to do this. You never did. It was always me.
Give it up, boy.
Oh.
Like you called it, Ganga. That mystery guest bit has Steven written all over it. I can't help it if I make a scene. I'm turning heads and I'm stopping traffic. Did you notice I made this far? Now everyone can see me burn. Now everyone can see me burn. Now everyone can see me burn. Always thought I might be bad. Now I'm sure that it's true.
Okay, so, wow, that was, again, I would say it's definitely a side story, but, oh my gosh. You know what, I'm just, forget about, the whole wait until the, after the break for the, review and everything. Let's just get right into my thoughts. This was a really good episode. Like this, well, of course, let me start with my favorite parts. First of all, Sadie singing. The actress who plays her, I can never remember her name, but I see her on, all kinds of shows, and she typically plays a very mousy character. I guess that's a good way of describing it. And, Sadie has been that in some ways. This character has definitely come out of her shell more so than the actress's usual roles. But her singing here, and just, that was some great character development on her part. Especially when it comes to my second favorite part of this episode, which is the dynamics between Sadie and her mom, which is a contrast between what happened in the previous episode with Connie and her mom. With Connie and her mom, it was that Connie's mom wouldn't really let her do anything. It's like, she would let her do things, but only very certain specific things, and they had to be on schedule, within the rules, so just very overbearing in that way. And then with Sadie's mom, I guess her name is Barb? I think I remember that right. But with Sadie's mom, it's, I don't know that overbearing would be the right way to describe it, but just very overbearing in a different way. Like, she she clearly hasn't been keeping up with what her daughter likes, because it's clear that she long ago outgrew the stuffed animals that her mom keeps bringing her, but her mom keeps bringing them. And then whenever Sadie gets excited or, mentions that she might want to do something, it's very much implied and shown through this episode that her mom overdoes it. It's like she's very supportive, but like supportive to the point where it's not about Sadie anymore. It's about what Sadie's mom wants, or what Sadie's mom thinks that Sadie wants. And I just, the way they resolve that, I wish we had gotten to hear a bit of the conversation between Sadie and her mom, though it seems like they did come to an understanding overall. So, even if we most likely won't ever hear that conversation, but it's clear that they came to an understanding there, and there was development for those characters, for that relationship, in a very similar but less dramatic and deadly way than what happened with Connie and her mom. Well, potentially deadly with Connie and her mom, obviously. So yeah, I really, really like that. And then at the end, my final favorite part of this episode was the final twist, which I guess that's the right way to put it, but when Steven says, what did he say? It's like, it was me. That it wasn't it wasn't just Sadie's mom pushing, but Steven was definitely along there too. And even Sadie said, and I guess you can call it the quote of the episode, it's like, "You're just as bad as my mom." And then Steven, it's just like, all of a sudden, which, by the way, I'm going to assume that the whole costume change was crystal gem magic. But yeah, that final twist there where it's Steven that gets up on stage and starts singing, and it was really fun. And I feel like that's what this episode was all about, really. It's like the last one, it was more serious. This one definitely had some serious tones as well. But it wasn't, again, it's like, there weren't any mutants that were having to be dealt with or anything like that. It was just a really nice, fun episode. And overall, as far as annoyances go, none. I don't have any annoyances. Like I mentioned earlier, I do wish that we had gotten to hear some of what Sadie and her mom said, but, that was during Steven's performance, so there you go. Maybe we'll call it a not annoyance. But instead of the people in the crowd talking, wish we would have heard a little bit of what Sadie and her mom were saying while Steven was singing. So yeah, we'll leave that at that. I'm not going to count it as a real annoyance though. Moment of terror? None. I didn't have any. No moments of terror, thankfully. Now, as for track of the episode, I'm going to have to look up what the name of that song was, but I mean, the song that Sadie sung at the beginning, that Steven ended up singing, that this whole song revolved around. I guess the track of the song is probably just Sadie's song. I guess I'll know once I look it up. But that was a nice little song. It was really good, and I'm curious as to who actually sings it. I know that on the show, a lot of the voice actors themselves are singers, and Rebecca Sugar, the creator of the show, she actually, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but she sings the outro song that continues to change. It has been revealed to me that that is the same song, apparently, that has basically always kind of been there. It's just a different part of that song. So maybe it's Rebecca Sugar that sings it. I won't know until I look it up again, but I'm not going to take the time to do that because I'm recording. Now let's see, what else? Now, as a whole, I feel like that this episode was definitely, like I mentioned at the end of the actual video there, that it's more of a side story than anything. But obviously getting a major theme here revolving around mothers, revolving around, Connie's mom, Sadie's mom. I don't know if the next episode will have to do with someone else's mom. What is the next episode called? Catch and Release. So yeah, nothing really sure there, unless, who knows, maybe Onion's mom comes back in the picture again. Just basing it off of the fishing and Onion's dad being a fisherman. I don't know. But yeah, just that parent dynamics and exploring that a little bit through the different characters. So, I don't know, maybe you consider that my theory overall for this episode and possibly the next one, and that is that the theme for this current tiny cluster of episodes has to do with the parents of characters, and maybe it will end with us learning some more about Rose, which I think would be the natural progression of things. Already told you all my overall thoughts on this episode. I absolutely loved it. Definitely looking forward to watching Catch and Release, which I may actually do next. I have a little bit of time before I record the next Discovering Doctor Who, so yeah, sure, why not? So I'm going to get into it right now, but I will see you all next time for the next episode of Discovering Steven Universe with Catch and Release.